The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. LGU associations are seeing improving COVID-19 situations in their areas, with more cases being managed at home. Quirino Governor Dakila Cua, who also is the chairman of the League of Provinces of the Philippines, told Agenda that around 96% of cases do not need hospital care. Cua also said that their goal now is to make sure that residents are equipped to isolate and treat COVID-19 at home.
So the trick now talaga is to equip our people in making makeshift isolation units or making their homes viable isolation spaces. Our kababayans feel more comfortable being isolated in their own homes.
Meanwhile, Bacolod City Mayor Evelio Leonardia, who chairs the League of Cities, said member cities back the expanded implementation of the alert level system. Leonardia also told Agenda that a virtual meeting between the IATF and local executives will take place to discuss the guidelines.
We were actually doing granular lockdowns because we thought that was not just necessity but practicality, because if you lock down a bigger portion, you will be spending also so much.
FIVOC says the magnitude 5.7 earthquake that struck Occidental Mindoro early morning was tectonic in nature. Speaking to Radyo 5, FIVOC's chief Renato Solidum said that the quake was a result of movement within the Manila Trench. Solidum added that the quake had a depth of 76 kilometers between Lubang Island and Calatagan, Batangas. And out of the 112 aftershocks, the strongest one had a recorded magnitude of 4.5.
Hindi natin inaalis na magkakaroon pa ng mga lindol along the Manila Trench. Pero kung yung kanina lang ang pag-uusapan, usually sinusundan ito ng maliit. But kailangan nating pagandaan yung malalakas pa.
PHARMALLY executives were under fire last week after a witness detailed the firm pushing through with distribution of so-called expired and substandard face shields. House lawmakers dealt into this issue, and we now have Marian Enriquez reporting to us live via Zoom to give us more details. Good afternoon, Maan. Could you give us the key highlights in today's House inquiry?
Yes, Charles, the lower house focused on whether face shields delivered by PHARMALLY Pharmaceutical do indeed expire. Recall that during the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing last Friday, a warehouse staff revealed that they were instructed to change the production certificate dates from 2020 to 2021. House Committee on Good Government Vice Chairman Johnny Pimentel started his interpellation by asking if face shields have expiration, since these are not perishable commodities. House Secretary Francisco Duque III explained that the shelf life for medical-grade face shields is 36 months or 3 years. The foam placed in the forehead is the one apparently subject to shelf life. Panel Chairman Michael Aglipa asked if the expired face shields had killed any health workers who used them. The Health Department argues that no one has raised complaints nor has gotten sick from using these face shields beyond their prescribed shelf life. PHARMALLY's Corporate Secretary and Treasurer Mohit Dargani is also present during the hearing. He denies swindling the government from tampering the production date certificates of face shields. Charles, the panel will be voting on whether to subpoena PHARMALLY'S KRIZEL Grace MAGO. We're still waiting for further developments after the Senate reported that they could no longer reach MAGO after last week's hearing. Charles?
Thanks for that, Maan. That was Maan Enriquez reporting from Manila. We'll have more stories after a quick break. Keep it here. Sige lang, try man. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The Education Department has laid out guidelines for the pilot implementation of face-to-face classes across 120 classes. To tell us more about this, we now have Jen Calimon joining us live from Malabon. Good afternoon again, Jen. Could you tell us more about these guidelines for limited physical classes?
Hey, Charles, let me just enumerate some of the guidelines. So the pilot run will cover a maximum of 100 public schools and 20 private schools in areas categorized as minimal risk. The pilot run will be done as a combination of face-to-face classes in school and previous distance learning modalities, meaning there will be 1 week straight face-to-face classes and 1 week straight distance learning. For the class size, there should be a maximum of 12 learners for kindergarten inside the classroom, maximum of 16 learners for grades 1 to 3, maximum of 20 learners for senior high schools, and a maximum of 12 learners for senior high schools in a workshop or science laboratories. For the classroom layout, 1 to 2 meters apart should be implemented to observe physical distancing, and there should be a proper ventilation. Group works, which will require close contact, will not be allowed, and there will be a staggered break time. There will also be a temperature check before entering school premises. Visitors shall be discouraged, and daily rapid health check in classrooms shall be conducted. Briones reiterated that no learner shall be forced to attend the pilot implementation of face-to-face classes, and the participating schools must have the written support and consent of parents of students who shall participate in the pilot. Lastly, before the DepEd is saying that vaccination for teachers who wish to participate is not mandatory. But now, Charles, they are saying that all participating personnel must be vaccinated below 65 years old and no existing comorbidities. DOH USEC Maria Rosario Vergeres said vaccination for teachers was initially recommended by pediatrics experts. Charles?
Right, Jen, thanks for breaking that down for us. But just to be clear, when exactly is the DepEd aiming to start this pilot run for face-to-face classes?
Well, Charles, DepEd has no announcement yet regarding the start of the pilot run, but earlier, DepEd Secretary Leonor Briones said that the DepEd has yet to determine the start of the pilot run, and they will implement it immediately after receiving instructions from the President. She also said that the pilot run will be implemented for only 2 months, and it will be closely monitored for risk assessment. Charles?
Right, Jen, apart from what you mentioned earlier, what else did health officials have to say in terms of keeping this pilot run safe from transmission of COVID-19?
Well, Charles, safety is the primary concern of both DepEd and DOH. That's why they will only conduct this pilot test run in areas with minimal risk, and those who passed the readiness assessment of the DepEd, DOH, and other protocols of the IATF and other organizations specializing in children's health. Now, according to Secretary Briones, in cases that there will be changes in their risk assessment monitoring, after the 2-month implementation, they will immediately stop the program. World Health Organization representative to the Philippines, Dr. Rabindra Abiasingh, has said that the UNICEF and the WHO are committed to partner with DepEd and DOH in analyzing, assessing, and supporting this initiative. He also said that he understands the anxieties and concerns of the parents, but he also said that we need to look at the longer-term consequences of the lack of face-to-face learning for more than a year now to the mental health and development of a child. Face-to-face learning, he said, can be done as long as everyone adheres to health and safety protocols. Charles?
Thanks for that, Jen. That was Jen Calimon reporting to us live from Malabon. Here's a quick look at today's other top stories. PNP Chief Guillermo Eleazar has approved the designation of Police Major General Alexander Sampaga as the new director of the PNP Academy. This comes after the alleged hazing death of Cadet 3rd Class George Carl Magsayo by another cadet, who is now detained at a local police station. A criminal case was filed earlier today. PHARMALLY Executive KRIZEL MAGO has been refusing to answer the Senate's call after her testimony. Lincoln Ong, another PHARMALLY official, meanwhile, has requested for an executive session, prompting authorities to postpone his transfer to the Pasay City Jail. And Miss Universe Philippines 2021 wrapped up its preliminary competition held at the Clark International Airport. The 28 candidates sizzled and strutted down the runway wearing their swimsuits and evening gowns. Coronation for this year's Miss Universe Philippines will be held on September 30 in Panglao, Bohol. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star and Business World online. Do visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.